Welcome to Pitch in the Zone,
Just
our weekly gathering of coaches who help one presenter with usually a 3-minute pitch. However, today is a very, very special day because we have Rita Martins with us as a presenter. And Rita is a PhD student in Portugal. And she is preparing for a pitch contest. And the time limit there is 5 minutes. So we are going to make a small little exception and we are going to let Rita pitch for the full 5 minutes before we are turning it to our coaches, Nathan Gold, Michael Marchak, Marco Vezzale, Scotty, Spursum, Liederman Duin, and Jess Owens, Debbie Kuchik, who presented last week here. So I'm really, really excited, Rita, to hear what you're going to present here. Before you start, let me ask you, what is the normal audience for your pitch? Number one. And number two, because this is more of an academic exercise, is there anything you would like us to pay specific attention? Are there any rules for this contest that we should pay attention to?
So hello to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you so much this opportunity. And about your questions, Claudio. So usually I pitch to several different audiences, since can be from university or at the same time from venture or entrepreneur sessions or associations. So it depends a little bit on the type of events. And about the competition, we have like an information of what we are being evaluated about itself, the idea, the innovative idea, but at the same time about how are we going to the market, and at the same time, what are our competitors, and finally the financial part. The business plan besides the pitch is also evaluated. So it's a kind of a little bit of everything.
All right, very good. So go-to-market strategy, competition, and financials. I ask all of the coaches to listen for those elements to make sure that they are part of the pitch. And with that, I want to open the pitch zone for you.
We'll reset the clock.
Yes, we do reset the clock. Marco, you were a little early there. All right. Cool thing. Okay, Rita.
I will share my screen.
The floor is yours whenever you are ready.
So, hello everyone. I'm here to present you TerriuS. TerriuS is a startup based in the south of Portugal. We are in a very, very old mill. This is our headquarters. And why did we start it? I always learned from my grandmother that the herbs that we were just finding in the countryside and in the land when we were walking, they were so good to make many different dishes. And always, for example, the acorns were roasted and the really small fruits, everything we were using at home. But along the years, when I started working with food industry, I understood this was always rejected. And I felt, so I need to do something with this. We can't keep wasting these kind of products. They are amazing and we can do something to add value to them. So I decided to create flours. We ground the product, we dry the product and then ground it in flour, like a powder of the raw material initially. And we decided to do this because there is a lack of gluten-free flours in the market, and all these sources are naturally gluten-free. At the same time, we know that we are expecting cereal scarcity, so we really need to find alternatives and find different products to produce bakery, especially bakery without gluten, because it's a huge challenge. We only overcome these difficulties with blends of different special flours, and we made it. we all have produced at TerriuS these amazing flowers from chestnut, acorn, apple, mushrooms, and these are examples of products made with our flowers. We all know that consumers are even more and more looking for gluten-free products, not only for their celiac problems in case of health, in case they are celiacs or have wheat allergy, but also because they are aware of real bread quality they want to eat. They want natural ingredients and they are concerned with their health. And above all, they want product with quality, sourdough bread and traditional bread and many other products made with real amazing flours that are not from sourcey cereals and can make amazing products. So this leads us to a very interesting market that is growing year by year. And we know that all the trends say that we'll keep like this. And who are our potential customers and effective clients already? So, especially bakeries in a perspective of B2B business that provide the bread, cookies, cakes, everything to these kind of final consumers. So, we have already some clients that are very happy in using these products with very good results. Also, special restaurants, cooking schools, Michelin stars restaurants that are very innovative in their recipes, want innovative products, and are really happy with using and testing our ingredients. And they are already clients. So related to our strategy to the markets, we send them, we send them samples, they try the samples, and then we have their feedback. And in many cases, we have been with amazing results because they prove by themselves that the flowers are resulting in the final product and they just start being clients. And about our competition, of course, there are the big players like Char, one of the biggest in the world, and there are many, many gluten-free flours already in the market. But some of them, they are not so interesting about nutrition characteristics, and others are not so innovative because they are just from usual products we consume, like, for example, nuts or legumes that are products that are already very valuable in the market. In our case, we are focused in byproducts and products that weren't used at all in human consumption, like these different competition we can see that are using like olive stone or cricket or even green banana to make flowers. But as you can see, they are different from us. Specifically, acorn from south of Portugal and south of Europe is very sweet, so is a uniqueness comparing with many other acorns from many other parts of the world. And at the same time, our methodologies of production, like chestnut flour, we smoke the flowers. So we smoke the chestnuts and the flour will have a completely different taste in the end. So everything is different, since the sources to the taste, nutritional profile, and health benefits that we have proved already with our scientific research and amazing results. Our business model is a B2B perspective, selling the flowers and at the same time knowledge transfer and training, because we have studied all these processes for many long years, and we can also sell our know-how and consultancy not only to the clients that buy our flowers, but at the same time to many other companies that need to innovate their products. Finally, we really want to grow with you, having a perspective of improving our production. So we need to have our own facilities and to set our machinery with a fundraising of 80K that we know that definitely we would like to join us in this amazing journey. And from all our perspectives in the market size, we will increase the revenues and have the investment payment in 2 years. So this is everything with this amazing co-founders and team, and with all these partnerships and mentors that we have until now. Thank you so much for all your attention. And if it wasn't COVID, we would like to invite you to a tasting, but unfortunately it's only online. Thank you so much.
All righty. Well, congratulations for a pitch. Well
Thank you so
done,
much.
Rita. Well done. There are a couple of obvious things. Number one, you went over time, not just by a few seconds, but about 1.5 minutes. So that is something I think that we need to find ways how we can compress it a little bit. The other part, and it plays into the same thing, is you have a tremendous energy. But that energy also translates into going full throttle all the time. I haven't heard one meaningful pause that you made. I haven't heard the variation where you slow down a little bit and then speed up when something exciting is going to come up, right? So use that vocal variety and change of pace a little bit to give your words even more oomph. Right now, you appear to me a little bit like a jockey on a racehorse, whereas I would like to see an equestrian that is lining up the horse from time to time, speeds up, takes a hurdle, slows down again. But in general, all in all, really great pitch, informative. Perhaps your slides could use a little bit work there as well. But I'm going to open it up now to all of the other coaches here. Perhaps we can start with Marco today. Marco, what have you noticed? How can we help Rita to improve this already pretty good pitch?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you also for letting us know some new things. And two small things in the slides. I noticed on the footer of the first and the third, it says June 2019, but all the other ones, they say December 2020. I don't understand why, so just erase that information. I don't think it doesn't help. Then, as far as I know, because my brother has a wholesale company selling food, there is an official logo for gluten-free, and that's not the one you used. So if you are dealing with this product, you have to be careful which logo you're using, because then, you know. And then talking about the investment, uh, in my opinion, it makes sense to show numbers when they make sense. Meaning, from my fast calculation, you're selling like 30 kilogram a month, and even if it's like very expensive, what you're making like 90 euro a month. So, I mean, it's to me, I would just list the names of your customers, not the quantities, because if I'm an investor, say, huh? I mean, you're generating 90 euro of income right now. So, so keep the clients, don't put the numbers then. Yeah, but that's
Especially at her stage, right, Marco, at this
yeah.
early stage.
Yeah, because of course it's good. Of course, everybody started from somewhere, but if you're looking for 80,000, I think that's what I've seen in the slide, showing them that you're making, it's maybe, of course, you have to tell the truth, but later, not maybe just at the beginning. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed also learning some new things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco. And as always, great observations. Next up, Michael. Michael is also always putting in a lot of comments into the chat box, Rita. So before the meeting is over, you might want to grab those, and Michael will now elaborate on some of these issues and perhaps add a few more. Michael.
Great, thanks. I think this hits home for me because my family, I have a celiac daughter. We've been gluten free now for 4 or 5 years, and so this is something that I've been researching the market, and we've had to do this, personally. As we look at some of the pitch you made, you start off with where you're at, and you talk about your grandmother. I swap those around. Talk about your grandma thing and the why she's building into you, giving that personal thing, that touch to who you are and why you're doing this, and then go back into the fact that you're sourcing the stuff elsewhere in the region, that's all natural, et cetera, that's all good. When you start talking about why you're doing it, you talked about the natural ingredients and that sort of thing, but you really never really discussed that whole celiac gluten tolerance or this preference for non-GMO kind of stuff that a lot of consumers are why gluten-free specifically is driving that demand. When your scarcity slide showed an increase of something, which didn't make sense to me. If you're something scarcity, so you show it going down. So I didn't quite understand that particular slide, and I'm not sure it really makes sense anyway in terms of how you're trying to pitch this. Really, you want to pitch the fact that the gluten-free market is growing, and you want to participate in that. And the reason why it's growing is because of these factors. And that's what we're going to head towards. We're targeting two different audiences, which you kind of mixed in there, which is I'm doing a little bit of consumer stuff. We're doing a little bit of commercial. Focus on that. Our consumer market brand is going to look like this. Our target market for our commercial is going to look like this. In commercial, we have to do additional training for our commercial bakeries or commercial restaurants. Here's how we're addressing that market there, et cetera. Focus on them and provide some real heavy details on why you're doing it and whatnot. You did start getting into the nuts and bolts about how you grind things like nobody cares. We assume that if you're doing this, that this is something you already got in hand and you're going to be doing it however your method is. But maybe that's a future thing if people are starting to ask about your methods and methodologies and whatnot. To what Marco said, I didn't see any revenue projections whatsoever on how you would grow your business. All I saw is you're asking for 80 grand for a mill. And I have no idea what comes after that, regardless of even what you're selling right now, which I know is you're getting started, but I saw no projections as an investor to know that I'll ever get my money back, or if I put these as a loan, that you'd ever be able to pay it back, because I saw no projections. So I love the concept. I think it's a great concept of being able to mix this up. You have a really good idea and a great energy to be able to do it. Engage that commercial mindset though, and think like you're people who are going to be buying stuff from you. If I have to do this with the commercial side of things, here's what they're going to want to know. And you want to be able to present that back to investors saying, I've thought about this, and here's how we're going to address these things. And here's where you're going to get your money back, and how we together are going to make money if you're asking me for money.
Awesome. Thank you very much for this really valuable feedback. And I think especially the point about the financials, Rita, take that to heart, because if this is one of the requirements for the contests that you're having, I think you really need to add a little bit more information there, clearly. Scotty, what have you noticed, and how can Rita improve this pitch?
It was great, Rita. I really enjoyed it. And I have some familiarity also with the celiac world, not personally, but my sisters and dear friends. So I agree with Michael's remarks and the other remarks that we've heard. One thing I might add is the nutritional differentiation. You talk about it for your grains, but I didn't really understand what it was. I know from other alternative food sources, they're really talking about what is the mineral content, what's the vitamin content, that sort of thing. So I didn't understand that. Getting to your revenues and market size too, you might also be able to, you do need to talk about how much you're making in some form or fashion in a dollar or euro amount. You could also segment the market and say you're going after Europe first, which is where I think you are, and then perhaps the US, so you can get quantifiable numbers for both of those markets. And maybe even commercial versus retail, right? Or I guess, yeah, commercial versus retail. And then also talking about the scarcity of the cereal products, which is true, and also the land use. How can you differentiate your product? Do you use less water, or is this an opportunity to use these grains from other sources that are going fallow somehow? It wasn't clear to me where that opportunity is. And contrary to Michael's comment, however, I thought it was interesting to hear about the grinding and the smoking of some of the products. Maybe that would be better for the Q&A. I don't know, but I think that is another differentiating factor and makes it a specialty play. And just two words, I can't resist. You talked about cereal scarcity, and I thought I heard scarcity. So it's actually a long A. So scarcity, which I think could be a key word for you. And then also celiac. It sounds like the word, like the letter C, or that we see something with our eyes, not celiac. So it's celiac. So I would just watch those two. But very interesting.
Great feedback. Thank you, Scotty. And we are still looking, and Nathan just made a comment in the chat box. We're looking still for some areas that we can help Rita cut some of this, right? Because the limit at the contest will be 5 minutes. She was about 1.5 minutes too long. Let me go around the room some more. Maybe Jess, by the way, I love your new painting back there. Jess, what have you noticed? And is there anything that comes to your mind that you could help Rita cut it down a little bit?
I think she went a little bit too much in the weeds when talking about the different kinds of flowers, and that whole section went on and on. So I think you can very easily say how yours is different and then just move on. You know, like even just a picture with the different kinds, that's more than enough information. I also thought the speed of your voice, I did notice some speeding up and slowing down a little bit, but I didn't know if it would just felt kind of random. There was one part where you were talking very, very quickly, and I think it was because you have way too much information there. So, you know, just cut it down, cut things out. You want people to want to learn more after you're done talking, right? That's the whole goal with this. And then, like other people said, the raise that you're asking for, I think it's important to say, after I get this money, these are the things I'm going to do. Like, this is how I plan to spend the money and get to my next goal post, you know? So I would include that. And otherwise, I liked it. I think it's great. Everybody has a need for this. So well done.
Excellent. Great feedback. And we are adding more and more and more. Let's see whether we can take some things out. Of course, you did make some valuable recommendations, Jess, on what to take out, and when you go back to the recording, Rita, you will see it yourself, right? It's like your speed was fairly fast, up to about 3 minutes. And I think that's when you had a quick look at the time and you were like, oh my God, I'm gonna run over, and you were speeding up even more. And then once we reached the 5 minutes, you switched gears one more time and sped up even more, right? So that is not the solution to get down in time. That is totally counterproductive. So we will find some ways, some things to cut out, to really get to the essence of what you want to communicate with a pitch like this. And this is, what's the problem? And how am I going to solve that problem for you? And by the way, who am I to be uniquely qualified to do so? Liederman, what have you noticed, and what kind of suggestions can you give to Rita to help her tighten things up a little bit?
Interessante sua apresentação, Rita. Gostei muito. Muito legal.
You show off.
Muito obrigada por falar em português. Thank you so much for speaking Portuguese.
I think I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I think I agree with Jess. You need to kind of cut a little bit on so many details. The presentation you're going to have for the competition, a lot of it is about you, who you are, and how you relate to people. If you talk fast and give lots of details, they're going to tune out. Pause, give them meaningful information. And I think the story about your grandmother was really good. It connects to why you're doing this, and you saw an opportunity, and you tackled that opportunity. Shows that you're a visionary, that you have ideas of how to solve problems. That talks a lot about your entrepreneurship spirit. Now you have to combine it with how you're going to make big money. You're asking people for money so you can do something. Guide them with your presentation to why this is such a great opportunity and why you are the right person to multiply their money. That's what I think. But overall, I think it was a good presentation.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Liederman, as always. And we are going to move on. Let me pick Debbie. Debbie, you were in the same seat last week. And so what are your observations from your angle? How can Rita improve her pitch?
I thought it was very good, and definitely there's a market for it, you know, the gluten-free. The one thing I thought about was the, when you showed the Michelin, you know, restaurateurs, and you said they were already customers and things, I think that would be more effective than the actual screen that you showed with your partners, because, none of those, that first you couldn't read it all. There was just so many people that were your investors or so on. But I think if you, really talk about more like somebody that's actually your customers and go into the Michelin and the restaurateurs, start with that commercial part, that might be a good way, as a lot of the other people today talked about, figuring out what are you going after, the commercial or the consumer? And that would be something I would think about, but I sure enjoyed it. It was very educational. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Debbie. And Samantha, you have been in Rita's chair before as well. You've gone through the pitch zone and you have been a very regular attendee. What have you noticed and how can Rita tighten it up a little?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I'm going to help her tighten it up, but because I'm going the other way. But so I love the energy, first of all, and I just love taking that stroll through the region with you. I like that story. I was like, well, if you're going to work anywhere, that's a beautiful place to work, looking at your meal. So I loved that. I really kind of liked your intro, and you definitely hooked me in. So, and that energy was still there throughout. A couple of things I'm thinking. I agree on the Michelin star restaurants that you're in. I feel like it's kind of like what Nathan calls this humble brag, like this is credentials here, and I just feel like there's no punch. I think you kind of lingered around there and was talking about other stuff, so I missed, like, oh, you're in Michelin starred restaurants, they're using your goods. I think if you're brief on that somehow, we get more of that punch that's that kind of credentializes you. And then, okay, so I don't follow a gluten-free diet, but I'm open to it as a consumer. And I was so curious to see acorns being used, because I never thought of humans eating acorns, So I somehow, you mentioned sweet and smoky. And again, if in one sentence you can say, like, what does a smoked nut do to the flour? I'm thinking as a consumer and a baker, can you somehow use that as a USP? Again, instead of talking about, because you start talking about your consumers and green bananas, now you're making me think, green bananas? Now I'm thinking about, I want to go and try that too. You're leading me away. So somehow talk about what the sweetness of the acorn, the smokiness of the chestnut does to the flour that makes that stand out more, and why, people should be drawn to that. I mean, whether it makes it perfect for cakes, it makes it great for breads. I don't know, but one sentence on that, the Michelin starred, and somehow one sentence on why using those particular nuts makes your flour the one to choose for people that are after a gluten-free flour. I think like USP. But yeah, overall I loved it. It was very interesting.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Samantha. And I have saved Nathan for last today for a very specific reason. Nathan is actually coaching the entire cohort of these PhD students. And so he has already done a few sessions with them. And I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to first get our ideas out, and now have Nathan come in and provide anything that we have missed. Perhaps he's gonna have a really, really great suggestion for Rita on how she can get down to the 5 minutes. Nathan.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm paid to help people with a clock, so I watch every minute of these pitches. And you switched from the opening to your market at exactly 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Since you are over by 1 minute and 27 seconds, the easiest way to get back that extra time, in my opinion, is to cut your opening, everything before the market, down to 1 minute. And do what Michael said. Talk about your grandmother first, then what you're doing. Because you could say, my grandmother taught me how, or watched her make flour out of these things, and that would be the bridge to why you're doing that today. And then just tell us what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then move on to the market. And if you do that, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? In 1 minute, you'll have plenty of time to take your time with the rest of it. And you'll even be able to slow down a little bit. That would be the first place to get time back. And the second place is in the competition. I know you have to talk about it because it's part of the academic exercise, but less time on the competition and more time. Like, here's our competition. Yes, we know we have competition, but where we're winning with Michelin star restaurant, chefs are blah, 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 or bakeries are telling us blah, 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 and move on. It should be about you, not them. And that's what I got for you. Good luck.
Nice one, especially the one about the competition. So Rita, this gets us to the end of our 30-minute session. It was fast-paced as always. And I would like to ask you, how was this helpful to you? Do you feel comfortable that you have a lot of new ideas for your big day in the beginning of December?
Yes, first of all, I would like to thank you all so much for all these amazing suggestions, inputs, everything you said. It was really important for me because some details maybe are even after thinking so much about the speech, maybe I never thought about it exactly in that way. So it's very, very important and useful for me having such a wide range of opinions. I would also like to thank you because it's very happy. I don't know exactly how to say the word, but gets me really happy listening to you say that you see that is interesting, that there is market, that you have the same problems at home, that you, besides all, of course, all the improvements we can always do, you enjoy the pitch. So on the other side, I really feel very confident with all the comments you made, and really helped me. So thank you so much. I told Nathan and Claudio by mail, I don't know how to thank you, and I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Really hope to see you soon in Portugal, and please find us at TerriuS.pt. Someone asked in the chat, I'm sorry I didn't see the name, about the meaning of TerriuS. It doesn't have a meaning. It's similar to the word earth, that is terra in Portuguese. And our sign, our logo means infinite, like the life in nature. And the steps, you can see little 3D dimension in the colors. It's like all the steps we have to go in life, in nature, to grow, to plant, to sow. And the colors are the colors of all the products we work, since browns to greens and to red, to the peppers. Once again, thank you so much, really.
Absolutely, our pleasure. And there is a value of sitting in our chairs as well, right? So since you asked what can you do to, pay back or whatever, I would like to invite you to join a few more of these pitch in the zones as a person that provides feedback. Because when we are listening to another pitch and provide feedback to it, listen to it in order to provide feedback, of course, we are learning always tons of new things for our own pitches. So please come back at any given time in the future as a co-coach. And if you ever want to show us your improved version, and maybe even get it down to 3 minutes, not for this contest, but just in general, please feel free to come back as well, because I really would love to see whether you can get this down to 3 minutes as well. And once you do, then 5 minutes will be a luxury for you. And that's really the key. And with that, I want to thank all of the coaches here today, as every week. Fantastic job. I really feel that we have helped Rita to prepare for her big pitch in 2 weeks. Now, next week is going to be Thanksgiving in the United States. So we will not have a meeting next week. The next meeting that we are going to have is going to be on December 3rd or 4th, depending. So next week, no meeting. And then we have 3 more meetings this year before we get into the holiday on the December 3rd. Thank you, Nathan. All right. And with that, I wish everybody of you a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care. Enjoy the holiday next week and see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.